Hello, and welcome to the Sleepy Scholar. This is a place where learning becomes a lullaby, where science drifts like poetry and curiosity softens into rest. Tonight, you are invited not to study in the hurried way of daylight, but to wander slowly through ideas, to feel them like a stream flowing around you. Knowledge here does not press or demand. It arrives gently, like waves against the shore. And so, you lie still, your body soft against the surface beneath you. Your breath rises and falls, and with it, you notice something subtle but ever present: the movement of time. Each inhale gathers the present moment. Each exhale releases it. Already, without trying, you are carried forward. Time is like a river. You cannot hold its water in your hands. For the moment you cup it, it slips away. And yet, the river never stops flowing. It glides onward, smooth and quiet, carrying every leaf, every ripple, every glimmer of light upon its surface. You, too, float in this river, whether you are aware of it or not. Scientists tell us that time is not just an idea, but a dimension, as real as length or width or height. Just as you move through space, step by step, you are carried through time, moment by moment. But unlike space, you cannot turn back. You cannot step sideways. You are borne forward on a current that moves with perfect consistency, never pausing, never retreating. And yet for you, time does not always feel consistent. Sometimes an hour stretches endlessly. Sometimes a whole day seems to vanish in the blink of an eye. A river may look smooth from above, but hidden beneath are eddies and swirls, currents that pull and push in ways that make the ride feel different. So it is with your perception of time. Close your eyes and imagine yourself standing at the edge of a riverbank. You dip your hand into the stream and feel the water rushing past. You cannot stop it, you cannot reverse it, but you can feel its coolness, its presence, its endless motion. That is what it means to be alive inside time. To sense its flow. To feel the difference between the now and the just then, between what is about to arrive and what has already gone. The philosopher Saint Augustine once admitted that he could not quite define time. He wrote, "If no one asks me, I know what it is. If I wish to explain it to him who asks, I do not know." You may feel the same. You live in time, you move through it, yet when you try to grasp what it really is, it slips away. Perhaps the best way to begin is not to analyze, but to notice. Notice the soft beat of your heart. Notice the pulse in your wrist, or the rhythm of your chest as you breathe. Already, your body is counting moments for you. Every heartbeat is like the tick of a hidden clock, every breath like the swing of a gentle pendulum. Time is not just something outside of you, it is also within you. Imagine the river of moments flowing both around and inside you. In each instant, billions of tiny processes are unfolding in your body. Cells divide, molecules collide, neurons send signals that ripple like sparks. You are an intricate vessel sailing the stream of time, and every part of you moves with it. Scientists describe time as a dimension woven together with space itself, forming what they call space-time. It is not just a backdrop, it is the very fabric on which the universe is painted. Galaxies drift apart because space-time stretches. Stars collapse because space-time bends. And here you are, a small but luminous traveler, carried on the same fabric that holds galaxies and suns. But tonight, you need not think of galaxies just yet. You can begin here with the simplicity of noticing. Imagine each second as a small droplet of water striking the surface of the river. You hear the sound, see the ripple, and then it is gone, replaced by the next droplet. The river remains, but the droplets pass. So too with your moments. Each arrives, stirs your awareness, and then slips silently into memory. Sometimes you may try to clutch at these droplets. You may wish a moment to last forever. The warmth of sunlight on your face, the laughter of someone you love, the relief of rest after long work. But the droplets cannot be held. They slide through your fingers. That is their nature. And yet, the river's flow is not your enemy. It is what makes those moments precious. If time did not move, nothing would change, nothing would grow, nothing would heal. A seed would never become a tree. A child would never become an adult. Even the stars would remain frozen, unburning, unchanging. The very gift of life rests upon this quiet current of time. As you listen now, you may feel yourself growing more still, more attuned to this invisible movement. There is no need to rush. There is no need to grasp. Time carries you gently, whether you struggle against it or rest upon its surface. Think of the ancient civilizations who first tried to measure the river. They built sundials, watching shadows slide across stone as the sun arced overhead. They built water clocks, where a steady trickle marked passing moments. Later came pendulums, gears, quartz crystals vibrating with astonishing precision. Yet all of these are merely tools, instruments for noticing what is already true. The flow never ceases. Now, imagine yourself again, beside the river. You step into it, the water swirling coolly around your ankles. You feel the pull, soft but steady, guiding you forward. You do not resist. You allow it to carry you. Around you, the forest hums with life. Leaves rustle, insects sing. Even here, all things move to the rhythm of time. The leaves grow and fall. The insects live their short days and fade. And yet, there is peace in this cycle. Time is not only a measure of change, it is change itself. Every tick of the clock, every beat of the heart, every swing of the pendulum is a sign that the universe is never still. Even now, as you rest, your body moves through this ceaseless transformation. Cells age, atoms shift, the earth beneath you spins quietly toward another dawn. You may wonder why time feels so personal, why it feels so deeply tied to your own life. The answer lies partly in your perception, in the way your brain gathers and organizes moments. But that is a story for later. For now, it is enough to see yourself as a traveler, resting upon a flowing current, moving ever onward without effort. The river of moments is vast, and you are but one boat upon its waters. Yet within your boat, you hold your memories, your choices, your hopes. The river provides the motion, but you provide the meaning. That is what makes time not just a dimension, but a story, your story. And so, tonight, as your eyelids grow heavier and your breathing slower, you may let go of the need to hold time. You do not need to chase it or control it. The river carries you, whether you notice or not. And in this noticing, there is calm. The water flows onward. The ripples spread outward. The sound grows softer. You are carried gently, deeper into the current. And as you drift, you may begin to wonder if your body is already a clock, already moving in harmony with this river, then what hidden rhythms are unfolding within you now? You lie still, and yet inside you, thousands of tiny clocks are quietly at work. Your body is not only carried by time, it measures it, shapes it, and responds to it. Every beat of your heart, every cycle of your breath, every gentle rise and fall of your energy across the day, all of these are marks of an inner timepiece that never stops. Even if you had no clock on the wall, no watch on your wrist, you would still know when morning comes. You would still feel the heaviness of night. The truth is that your body is a living calendar, tuned to rhythms so ancient that they echo the rotation of the earth itself. Begin with your heart. Its steady beat is the simplest and most obvious rhythm within you. Each contraction pushes blood through your body, nourishing your tissues, sustaining your mind. In a single day, your heart will beat more than 100,000 times. Each beat is like a tick of a hidden metronome, marking the passage of moments without your conscious effort. This rhythm is your most intimate clock, one that never rests while you live. Then there is your breath. Inhale, exhale, the tides of your own body. About 12 times each minute, your chest rises and falls, marking the rhythm of life in waves. It is slower than the heart, softer, but no less steady. Together, the beat of the heart and the flow of the breath create the foundation of your inner timekeeping. They remind you that you are not separate from time, but woven into it. But deeper than these obvious rhythms are the hidden ones, the circadian rhythms. The word circadian comes from Latin, circa meaning around, and dies meaning day. Your body runs on an internal cycle of about 24 hours, tuned to the rising and setting of the sun. Within your brain, a small cluster of about 20,000 neurons, called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, acts like a master clock. It sits in the hypothalamus, right behind your eyes, and it takes its cues from light. When the morning sun touches your skin and filters into your eyes, signals reach this master clock. It tells your body, it is day. Wakefulness hormones rise, body temperature increases, energy slowly builds, and as evening comes and the light fades, the clock shifts again. Melatonin, the hormone of sleep, begins to flow. Your body cools, muscles relax. The living clock guides you gently into the night. You may not always notice these patterns, but they shape your entire existence. When you cross time zones and find yourself awake at midnight, restless and disoriented, you are feeling the pull of your circadian rhythms tugging against the disruption. When you eat meals at unusual hours or stay awake through the night, you disturb this delicate cycle, and your body feels the imbalance. Yet when you align yourself with the cycle of light and darkness, you feel harmony. Sleep comes easily. Energy rises with the morning sun and falls with the evening glow. You are, in truth, an earthbound creature, tuned to the planet's rotation, just as flowers open with daylight and close at dusk. And still, the rhythms go even deeper. Each of your cells, trillions of them, carries its own molecular clock. Genes turn on and off in cycles. Proteins build and break down in repeating patterns. These tiny rhythms synchronize with the master clock in your brain, creating a symphony of coordinated timing. Your liver knows when to process food. Your muscles know when to prepare for exertion. Your immune system knows when to heighten or lower its defenses. All of these clocks work together to form your sense of time passing. You may not consciously count every heartbeat or track every breath, but your body feels the waves. Morning energy, afternoon slowness, evening calm, nighttime stillness. Each cycle is like the turning of a page, marking the story of your day. Think of yourself as an orchestra. The heart is the percussion, steady and constant. The breath is the woodwind, rising and falling like a tide. The circadian rhythm is the conductor, guiding the whole. And the cellular clocks are the string section, countless and delicate, creating the texture beneath the melody. You may not hear the music directly, but you feel it in every part of your being. Consider how remarkable this is. You carry time not only in your awareness, but in your very biology. Without any machine, without any device, your body keeps track of hours and days with exquisite precision. Long before humans built clocks, long before history was written, life moved to these rhythms. Tiny sea creatures rose toward the surface during the night and sank again by day. Plants turned their leaves toward the sun and closed them at night. You, too, are part of this ancient song. This is why you often feel comfort when you fall into routine. Rising at the same hour, eating at familiar times, sleeping in steady cycles, all of these align your inner clocks. When they align, you feel balanced. When they clash, you feel uneasy, as though your music has fallen out of tune. Now, as you lie quietly, you can sense this orchestra within. You do not need to count your heartbeats or measure your breaths. Simply knowing they are there, steady and reliable, can bring a sense of calm. Each beat and each breath assures you that the rhythm continues. The more you notice this inner time, the more you realize that you are not only carried by time's river, but also rowing gently within it. Your body marks time with its own language, with signals and cycles that keep you in harmony with the earth. And yet, time does not only live in the body's rhythm, it also lives in your memory, in the way moments linger within your mind. The clock inside you measures, but the mind remembers. It shapes your sense of how long something lasted, how quickly something passed, how vividly a moment endures. So, as you drift now, listening to the inner music of your own body, you might begin to wonder, if your cells and heart keep time so faithfully, how does your mind hold on to the moments that slip away? You close your eyes, and in an instant, yesterday is here again. A smile you once shared, the sound of footsteps on a quiet road, the taste of tea cooling slowly in a cup. Though the moment has passed, it has not disappeared. It lingers within you, stitched softly into the fabric of memory. Memory is how you carry time. The river of moments never stops flowing, and yet your mind dips its hand into the stream, lifting droplets, holding them briefly in the light. You cannot keep the river, but you can hold these droplets long enough to look at them, to feel them, to let them shape the story of who you are. Without memory, time would blur into sameness. Every sunrise would be the first, every face a stranger's, every path unknown. But with memory, you string moments together like beads, and from them, you weave your sense of a past, of a journey, of a self. Your brain does not record the past as a camera would. It does not store every detail in crisp perfection. Instead, it keeps fragments, impressions, highlights. Like an artist painting from memory, your mind sketches the important shapes and fills them with color, but leaves out what does not seem essential. This is why your memories feel vivid in some places and hazy in others. The brushstrokes are soft, not mechanical. Neuroscience tells us that memory has many forms. There is short-term memory, like the gentle echo of a sentence you just heard. There is working memory, like a chalkboard in your mind, where numbers or words can be briefly written and then erased. And there is long-term memory, the great library of your life, where moments are stored not as books on shelves, but as networks of connections between neurons. When you remember, your brain is not opening a book. It is rebuilding, reweaving. Neurons spark in patterns, and those sparks recreate the experience, often slightly differently each time. Memory is less like replaying a video and more like retelling a story. And every time you retell it, the story shifts just a little. Think of your first memory. Perhaps it is a room, a face, a sound. That memory has followed you for years, and yet it has likely changed with you. Details have faded, gaps have been filled unconsciously, fragments have been polished by retelling. Still, it holds meaning, because memory is not about perfection. It is about identity. It is the thread that connects the you of then to the you of now. Sometimes, memory stretches time. A frightening event may feel as if it lasted much longer than it did, because your mind captured it in vivid detail. At other times, memory compresses. Whole weeks may pass with little to remember, and when you look back, they feel like they vanished in a blink. In this way, memory bends your personal sense of time's flow, expanding some stretches, shrinking others, creating a rhythm unique to your own life. Consider childhood. Looking back, those years often feel long and full, each season unfolding with newness. But as you grow older, years seem to pass more quickly. Psychologists suggest that this is partly because each year, relative to your age, becomes a smaller fraction of your life. A single summer at age 10 is a tenth of your memory of summers, but at age 50, it is only a small sliver of many summers past. And so time feels faster, not because it moves differently, but because memory frames it differently. Memory also ties you to others. A shared story, a remembered laugh, a moment both people recall. These weave bonds stronger than any rope. When you sit with someone and say, "Do you remember?" you are inviting them into your own tapestry of time, linking your rivers of experience together for a while. And yet, memory is fragile. It can fade, it can be altered, it can even be fabricated. Entire experiences can be suggested, imagined, and then stored as though they truly happened. The brain, for all its brilliance, is not flawless, but perhaps this fragility is part of its poetry. Memory is not a perfect archive. It is a living, shifting garden. Some flowers bloom brightly year after year, while others wilt and disappear. Think of how memory and emotion intertwine. Joyful memories glow warmly, while painful ones cast longer shadows. Neuroscience shows that emotions strengthen memory. The amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure deep in your brain, signals that an event is important, and this signal helps etch the memory more deeply. This is why you may remember exactly where you were during a moment of joy or fear, while countless ordinary hours dissolve into the background. But memory is not only about the past. It also shapes how you imagine the future. When you plan tomorrow, your brain uses the same networks it uses to recall yesterday. To imagine what will be, you draw upon what has already been. Memory gives you the building blocks to dream forward, to anticipate, to hope. In this way, memory ties the arrow of time together, linking the past, present, and future into a continuous thread. And then there is forgetting. Though it can feel like loss, forgetting is also essential. If you remembered everything, your mind would be overwhelmed with detail, unable to focus or prioritize. Forgetting clears space, prunes the branches of the tree, allows the most meaningful memories to stand tall. The river flows on, and some droplets are carried away, making room for others. As you lie here, you may notice memories of today drifting gently through your mind. A conversation, a glance, a sound. Some will remain with you, becoming part of your story. Others will fade, carried quietly downstream. There is no need to hold them all. You trust that what matters most will remain. And in this trust, you find calm. You are not required to clutch every detail. You are simply invited to drift along the river of remembering, to hold the droplets that shine for you, and to let the rest pass peacefully into the distance. You are a weaver of time, and memory is your loom. With it, you spin the threads of your life, binding moments into patterns, stitching the past into the present. And though the fabric changes, though some threads fray, the design remains yours. The memory of yesterday lives in you. It is what allows you to say, I was, and also, I am. And as you drift deeper into stillness, you might begin to wonder, if memory shapes how you feel time, then why does time always seem to move forward, never back? You hold a memory in your mind. It comes like a ripple, a picture of something once whole. A glass cup stands in your hand, clear and simple, until a slip, a fall, and a crash on the floor sends it into hundreds of glittering shards. The fragments scatter outward, each one sharp and unique. And in that moment, you know something irreversible has happened. You could gather the pieces, fit them together in a puzzle of edges, even glue them with care. But the smooth, unbroken cup that once existed is gone. The world has moved in only one direction. It will not go back. This feeling, this ordinary observation, is one of the deepest truths of the universe. Time, for you, always flows forward. The shattering of a cup is not an accident of clumsiness, but a window into the fundamental law of entropy. You live inside its current. It is the unseen arrow that guides everything, from the drifting of clouds to the cooling of stars, to the beating of your own heart. Entropy is a word born from thermodynamics, the science of energy and heat. Yet it feels more like a philosophy, a whisper of inevitability woven into every corner of existence. At its core, entropy measures disorder, the way energy spreads, the way patterns dissolve, the way order slips into chaos. A hot cup of tea on a cold evening never warms the air around it by pulling back the chill into itself. Instead, the heat flows outward, dispersing grain by grain, until both tea and air settle into sameness. Energy, like a story, always spreads in one direction, and you, sitting with your memories, are part of this movement. The warmth of your skin flows outward to the air, never inward from it. The breath you exhale mingles with the room, never returns to your lungs in its old arrangement. The tick of the clock is not just rhythm, but proof that you are being carried, gently but relentlessly, downstream. It is tempting to wonder why. After all, the equations of physics, the laws of motion, the dance of particles are, in themselves, symmetric. They do not demand forward or backward. A ball rolling across a floor could, by the mathematics, roll in reverse just as easily. At the microscopic level, atoms can collide and rebound whether time is running forward or backward. So why does your lived world insist on one direction only? The answer lies in probability. Imagine a deck of cards neatly stacked, numbers aligned in perfect order. There is only one way for it to look that tidy. But shuffle the cards. Once, twice, 100 times, and you open yourself to trillions upon trillions of possible messy arrangements. The likelihood of landing back on that single, precise order is so small, it becomes, for all practical living, impossible. Order is rare, disorder is abundant, and the universe, vast and restless, plays the numbers. So the arrow of time is not written in the rules of particles themselves, but in the grand statistics of their gathering. Entropy rises because the number of disordered states far outnumbers the fragile balance of ordered ones. Shattered cups outnumber unshattered cups. Cold air surrounding warm tea outnumbers the reversed possibility. The universe does not forbid the backward flow. It only hides it behind a wall of improbability so towering you will never see it fall. And so you breathe in this quiet inevitability. You feel the comfort of forwardness. It is the reason your memories sit behind you and not ahead. The reason you recall yesterday but cannot glimpse tomorrow. Each heartbeat, each flicker of thought is a shattering, a dispersal, a flow into the ever-unfolding present. Entropy is not cruelty, though it is often described as loss. It is not the enemy of order, but the mother of change. Stars burn and scatter their elements so that planets can form. Leaves fall and decay into soil so that forests may grow again. Your own body ages, cells wearing down, energy dispersing, but in that very process, new cells are born, new moments arise, new experiences unfold. Disorder births variety, variety births possibility. There is poetry here, that you are not trapped in entropy's grip, but carried by it like a leaf drifting on a river. The river knows only one direction, yes, but along the way it carves valleys, nourishes fields, and reflects the sky. Entropy does not erase beauty, it creates it. Think of the stars. Once, in the early universe, energy was smooth, uniform, spread across space with almost no variation. Entropy was low then, but so was complexity. As time marched forward, fluctuations grew, clouds of gas collapsed, stars ignited, galaxies whirled into being. The arrow of time pointed not to sameness, but to structure. You look at the night sky now, and each star is a monument to entropy's work, a reminder that the path forward is also the path of creation. You may wonder, if entropy always increases, if order always dissolves, does that mean the universe is running down, slowly becoming less alive, less vibrant? In the far, far future, yes, energy will spread so evenly that motion itself may still. Physicists call it the heat death of the universe. But here now, you are billions of years away from that horizon. You live in the fertile middle, where entropy has not closed doors, but opened them. Life exists because the arrow of time moves forward. Every breath you take is a tiny flow of entropy, air rushing from high pressure to low, oxygen molecules diffusing, energy spreading. And yet from this, your cells build order, your thoughts spark meaning, your words carry love. Entropy allows you to be here, to feel, to wonder, to exist in this fragile, ever-changing present. And so you sit with the shattered cup in your memory. You recognize that it could never return to its old shape, but you also see that in its scattering lies a kind of freedom. The pieces may glint in sunlight, may be remade into art, may teach a child the lesson of care. The forwardness of time does not erase what came before. It weaves it into the unfolding tapestry. Time's arrow is not a tyrant. It is a guide. It tells you that what has passed is past, but also that what lies ahead is yet unwritten. It allows you to let go, to rest, to trust the current. You are moving forward, always, because that is the way the universe itself breathes. Close your eyes and imagine yourself floating in that current. Around you, galaxies spin, stars burn, leaves fall, waves crash, each one a ripple of entropy unfolding. You are part of this cosmic flow, and in surrendering to it, you find calm. And yet, as you drift on this arrow of time, a gentle question begins to stir. If the future is always ahead, always uncertain, what is it made of? If entropy writes the script of forward motion, what role does chance, or choice, or possibility play? The current carries you onward, and in the silence of that question, you feel yourself reaching toward the next thought. Time, you carry it with you like an invisible companion. You trust its rhythm, the way the seconds tick forward in their endless line, one after another, steady and true. You live as though each moment is the same size as the next, like beads on a string that never changes. But if you pause and remember your own life, you notice something curious. Not all moments feel equal. Think of a childhood afternoon, when you waited for a friend to arrive. The clock on the wall seemed to slow, its second hand dragging itself across the dial, refusing to hurry. Now, think of a day spent in laughter, maybe with family, maybe with someone you love. Hours slipped away as if they were only a handful of minutes, vanishing before you could hold them. Your own memory whispers what physics confirms. Time is not as rigid as you once believed. A racing heart can stretch seconds into eternities. The silence before a piece of news, the pause before a leap, the moment you catch yourself falling, each feels swollen, expanded, as if the universe had given you extra slices of experience. And then joy, flow, and delight seem to shrink hours, making them light and fragile, impossible to grip. This is the personal, human version of time dilation. But Einstein showed us that the cosmos itself plays with time in a far deeper way. You imagine standing with a clock in your hands, its ticking constant and sure. Now picture a twin of yours, carrying another clock, walking away, walking faster, running, and then climbing aboard a rocket ship. The faster your twin moves, the slower their clock runs compared to yours. What feels steady to them, a second here, a second there, stretches longer from your viewpoint. Their heartbeat, their breath, even their thoughts, slow in comparison. When they return, they may find you older, your clock many ticks ahead of theirs. This is not illusion. It is relativity. Speed bends time. It is as if the universe resists the idea that two people rushing at different velocities can agree on a single rhythm. Each carries their own version of seconds, and those seconds do not always match. When Einstein revealed this, he rewrote the very language of physics. Time was no longer a universal drumbeat that everyone heard the same. It was pliable, flexible, woven into the same fabric as space itself. But speed is not the only sculptor of time. Gravity, too, bends it. Imagine standing on the surface of Earth, a planet massive enough to curve space all around it. Your seconds, close to the ground, pass differently than the seconds of someone drifting far above the atmosphere. The closer you are to a strong pull of gravity, the slower your time flows. This means that deep within a valley, or at the edge of a black hole, the passage of time warps compared to the wide emptiness of space. Astronauts orbiting Earth carry this reality in their very bodies. Their clocks, tuned to perfection, return with tiny mismatches compared to the clocks left on the ground. The difference is small, fractions of seconds, but it is there, undeniable, etched into the ticking of atomic hands. Global positioning satellites would fail without accounting for these shifts. Each signal they send would slowly slip out of sync if engineers ignored the truth that gravity and motion stretch and shrink time itself. You close your eyes and imagine floating near a black hole. The pull is vast, a well so deep that light itself cannot escape. From far away, someone watching you would see your seconds stretch. To them, you appear to slow, your movements growing sluggish, your voice dimming. At the edge of the event horizon, you seem to freeze, trapped in a single moment, forever caught. Yet for you, falling inward, time feels normal, each heartbeat steady, each breath unchanged. Two truths coexist, both valid, both irreconcilable, without the language of relativity. This duality whispers something profound. Time is not a single river, flowing identically for all. It is a web, strands crossing and bending, each observer tracing their own stream. Your life flows in one thread, your neighbors in another, the astronauts in a third. And though you all exist in the same universe, you do not agree on how long a second lasts. The universe allows this contradiction, embraces it, and builds its beauty upon it. And yet, even knowing this, you still feel the strangeness of personal time. A single moment of fear still seems longer than a day of laughter. Neuroscience tells you that your brain processes fear by sharpening attention, flooding perception with detail, so the memory holds more frames, more impressions. It is as if the mind has recorded at a higher speed, tricking you into believing the moment itself expanded. On the other hand, joy smooths the frames, stitching them together seamlessly, so the hours blur and vanish. You begin to see a connection. Physics bends time across space and speed. The mind bends time within the folds of memory. Both teach you that time is not rigid. Both suggest that seconds stretch and shrink, depending on where you stand, how you move, how you feel. In this way, every heartbeat is a universe. Every glance is a cosmos. Your mind is not separate from the laws that govern galaxies. It echoes them in miniature, repeating their patterns in thought and feeling. When you linger on an experience, replaying it, your memory creates a kind of gravity, holding the moment longer, heavier, denser. When you skim lightly through a day, attention diffused, time races by unnoticed, like starlight passing a window. Einstein once described the relativity of time with a touch of humor. A minute near something hot feels like an hour. An hour with someone you love feels like a minute. Beneath the smile of the remark is truth, both scientific and tender. Time bends not only in equations, but in the heart. And so you rest in this realization. The seconds you trust are never quite steady. They are living things, stretched by velocity, slowed by gravity, shaped by emotion, colored by perception. The universe allows for many truths at once. A second for you may not be a second for another. What you call now may not be now elsewhere. As you drift deeper into reflection, you notice the paradox. Time feels both intimate and distant. You touch it in your breath, in the rise and fall of your chest, yet you also see it written in the orbits of stars and the spinning of galaxies. Time is the same substance, whether stretched across light years or nestled inside your thoughts. You feel small and infinite at once, like a single note within a vast, unending song. Your mind slows, your breath deepens, and you wonder what this means for memory, for experience, for identity. If time itself is pliable, then what is the self that moves within it? You picture yourself walking forward, step by step, through a fog that thickens and thins, a fog that sometimes clears into long vistas, sometimes crowds close into an instant. You are not only walking through time, time is walking through you. And as you rest on this edge, one final question begins to take shape. If time bends and shifts, then what of the places where time itself began, or where it may someday end? What becomes of moments at the birth of the universe, or the silence that may follow its final breath? You hold the thought gently, like a seed waiting to open. If time itself can stretch and shrink, then what does that mean for its origin, for its destiny? The next step in your journey whispers of beginnings and endings, and of what it means for time to be born. You close your eyes, and in that darkness, the universe opens like a quiet book. Each page is not made of paper, but of light, drifting toward you across unimaginable distances. This light is old, carrying whispers of beginnings that no living memory can reach. And yet, here you are, listening to the soft rhythm of the cosmos, as though it is a clock gently ticking, not in seconds, but in centuries, in eons, in breaths of galaxies. You feel it first in the stars, each one a flame suspended in the deep, each one an ember burning fuel from its core, keeping time through its slow dance of birth, maturity, and quiet fading. A small star, like our sun, burns steadily for billions of years, its light constant, like the patient ticking of a grandfather clock in a quiet room. A massive star, brighter and fiercer, burns faster, living for only a few million years before ending in brilliance, a supernova flash that marks the striking of some immense cosmic chime. If you could listen carefully enough, every star would be a clock face, its color, its brightness, its very chemistry telling the story of its age. Astronomers look into these lights as though gazing at an endless sea of watches, each one keeping its own rhythm, together composing the grand orchestration of universal time. You realize, lying still, that time is not only measured by your watch on the bedside table, it is etched into the fabric of the cosmos itself. Beyond the stars, time reveals itself in another way, in the slow drifting of galaxies. Imagine them as ships scattered across an infinite ocean, each one glowing with billions of lights. Over time, the ocean stretches. The ships move apart, not because they sail on their own, but because the sea beneath them expands, carrying them outward. This expansion is steady, like the gentle pulse of breath. It is the most silent, most patient clock, the clock of the universe itself, growing wider with every passing moment. When you look far enough into space, you also look back in time. The nearest star shows you light that left only a few years ago. The nearest galaxy shows you light that began its journey 2 million years ago. And when astronomers look to the farthest reaches, they see light that has been traveling for nearly the full age of the universe, over 13 billion years. In these beams of light, time is written, carried like letters in a bottle across a cosmic ocean. But there is a clock, older still, quieter still, the afterglow of the Big Bang itself, a faint radiation, stretched across the sky in every direction, invisible to your eyes, but detectable with instruments built for listening to the ancient. This radiation is called the cosmic microwave background, and it is the universe's childhood photograph. It is a fossil of light, imprinted with tiny ripples, tiny differences, like the first strokes on the canvas of everything that would come after. In that glow, scientists read the age of the universe, tracing how long this great clock has been ticking. Closer to home, time is measured in another way, in the elements themselves. Within atoms of rocks, within tiny traces of decay, there lies a record of how long matter has been around. Like sand falling in an hourglass, radioactive decay ticks steadily, counting years and centuries, giving us a calendar that stretches back to the formation of Earth. In these quiet measurements, we learn that our world is more than 4.5 billion years old. This, too, is part of the cosmic clock, its steady rhythm hidden in stone and dust. You begin to see how time is woven into every corner of existence. In your own body, atoms formed in the hearts of stars are arranged, waiting, carrying memories of explosions billions of years ago. Your breath, your heartbeat, your very cells are ticking in rhythms that echo the same laws as the turning of galaxies. The clock of the cosmos is not separate from you. It lives through you, as surely as the pulse of blood lives in your veins. And yet time is not the same everywhere. You drift in thought to Einstein's revelation that time bends, stretches, and folds depending on where you stand in the universe. Near a massive star or the rim of a black hole, time slows down. A second there is not the same as a second here. It is as though each place in the cosmos owns its own heartbeat, each tuned to gravity's pull. The universe keeps time in many voices, each true, each part of the greater whole. Imagine standing near a black hole, watching the universe beyond you. For you, moments pass slowly, gently, like drops of honey. But for the galaxies far away, centuries sweep by. You would watch the future unfold in fast forward, as though the cosmic clock itself is running on two different hands, one slow, one quick. In that strange relativity, time reveals its depth, its elasticity, its refusal to be a single, rigid thing. The stars above you, the galaxies, the afterglow, the black holes, together, they weave a grand pattern. It is not a clock of numbers or gears. It is a living clock, one that grows, one that evolves, one that breathes. It does not tick loudly. It hums quietly, persistently, like the pulse of the sea against the shore, like the beating of a hidden drum. And as you rest, you realize that this cosmic clock is not a countdown, not a reminder of endings, but a guide to continuity. It tells you that time flows, not towards silence, but toward transformation. Stars end, but their endings seed new worlds. Galaxies drift, but in their drifting, new structures form. Even the radiation from the first moment of the universe still lingers, carrying the story onward. You wonder then if time itself is a kind of memory, a memory written into light, into dust, into your very body. Perhaps this is why looking at the night sky feels like gazing into something sacred, because it is not only distance you are seeing, but history itself, alive, burning, whispering. The cosmic clock keeps turning, and you float within it. You are not outside of this rhythm. You are part of it. Each breath you take joins the chorus of expansion, of decay, of starlight, of time's unbroken stream. The seconds in your room are held inside the same fabric that stretches galaxies apart. The clock ticks on, with or without your noticing, but tonight you notice, and that noticing is enough. Yet even as you find comfort in this rhythm, a question lingers, quietly, like the fading echo of a bell. If the cosmic clock is always moving, if it always ticks forward, is there ever an end? Does time itself stop, or does it flow forever? The thought hovers in your mind, unresolved, waiting to lead you into the next chapter. You sit here, in this moment, listening. The world outside may stretch endlessly in time and space, but for you, life can only ever be touched now. The past is a memory, the future an expectation, and the only place you ever actually live is this small, unfolding moment in front of you. Science, philosophy, and meditation all circle around this truth. The present moment is not just a poetic idea, it is the very stage on which your brain constructs reality. And so we pause here together to explore what it means to rest in the now. Close your eyes, if you wish, and notice a breath. Air moves in, air moves out. This tiny rhythm is both ordinary and extraordinary. You may not realize it, but the brain constantly edits your experience, always trying to keep up with the flow of the world. Neuroscientists tell us that what you perceive as the present is already a reconstruction, a moment shaped by signals arriving from your senses, stitched together in fractions of a second. Your eyes, your ears, your skin, all send information with slight delays, and your brain smooths it into what feels like, yes, now. This means the present is not an absolute point in time. It is a gentle window, a span of a few seconds, in which your brain weaves continuity. You do not live in razor-thin instants. You live in small intervals, like frames of a film, flowing so smoothly that they seem continuous. Some researchers call this the specious present, a kind of mental bubble in which experience gathers. Within this bubble, you remember the immediate past and anticipate the immediate future, yet you rest in the sense of now. Think of it like standing on a quiet shore. Waves roll in, one after another. You cannot separate a single drop of water from the whole ocean. And yet, in this moment, you stand where the tide meets the sand. The past wave has already returned to sea. The next wave has not yet arrived, but you are always at the line where water touches land. That is your present moment, always arriving, always leaving, never holding still, yet always real. Mindfulness practice is simply learning to notice this shoreline more clearly, to breathe, to listen, to feel sensations without being carried too quickly into memories or projections. And neuroscience supports this. When you focus on your breath, networks in your brain, known as the default mode network, usually busy with daydreams, regrets, or planning, begin to quiet. Instead, regions involved in attention and sensory awareness light up. The act of staying present literally changes the way your brain fires, moment by moment. And yet, the present moment is slippery. As soon as you try to hold it, it seems to vanish. You might notice how quickly your mind leaps away, rehearsing conversations, replaying old mistakes, imagining possibilities. This wandering is natural. It is the mind's way of preparing and surviving. But here, in this chapter, you are invited to return gently, without judgment. Like a bird perching briefly on a branch, you can rest in awareness before flight takes you again. One way scientists measure presence is by studying brain waves. When you are lost in thought, your brain often shows patterns of faster, scattered activity. When you settle into mindful attention, slower rhythms emerge. Alpha waves, like a calm tide. These rhythms do not erase thought, but soften it, allowing perception to widen. It is as though the mind, usually a rushing river, becomes a reflective lake. In this stillness, details you usually overlook begin to shine. The texture of your breath, the sound behind the sound, the simple fact of being alive. Notice, too, how time feels different here. In stress or distraction, time often races. Hours vanish unnoticed. But in present awareness, time expands. A single minute can feel spacious. Some psychologists suggest that our sense of time's speed is linked not to clocks, but to the density of experiences we notice. The more you pay attention, the richer each moment feels, and the slower it seems to pass. This may be why childhood feels long and adulthood fast. Children notice more, while adults filter more. Presence, then, is a way of returning to the child's wonder, where a small detail can fill the whole world. Imagine yourself walking in a forest. Sunlight filters through leaves. Insects hum in the air. The ground carries the scent of earth. You could walk through without noticing, caught in thought, or you could pause and truly see. The veins in a leaf, the flicker of light, the sound of your own steps. Both walks cover the same distance, but only one places you fully in the present. This is the gift of mindfulness, not to change the world, but to change the way you meet it. In the present moment, even simple things reveal depth. Neuroscientists studying perception often speak of prediction. Your brain does not just record what happens, it guesses what will happen next based on past experience. This saves energy, but also blinds you. When you eat an apple, you expect sweetness or tartness, and your brain fills in much of the taste before you even notice. But if you pause, if you bring attention, you may discover subtler notes, the crispness, the shifting texture, the tiny burst of scent as teeth break skin. By slowing down, you step out of prediction and back into direct experience. And this, perhaps, is the essence of presence. It is a return. A return from the stories and models in your head to the raw aliveness in your senses. You may not escape thought, no one does, but you can soften it, letting each moment unfold before judgment arises. Like opening a hand that has been clenched too tightly, presence is a release. Consider too how presence connects you to others. When you listen deeply, without planning your reply, you create space for another person's words to land. Eye contact, shared silence, a gentle nod. These are ways of saying, I am here with you now. In relationships, the greatest gift is often not advice or solution, but presence. Science shows that empathy increases when people truly attend, as neural circuits of mirroring activate. Your brain, in a way, becomes a bridge to theirs. Still, the present moment is not always comfortable. Pain exists here too. Sometimes you wish to escape, to hide in distraction. But even here, presence offers a strange medicine. Studies of mindfulness in chronic pain show that when people bring awareness to their sensations instead of resisting them, suffering can lessen. Pain may remain, but the mind's added layers, fear, tension, avoidance, can soften. By meeting discomfort directly, without running, you often find it is more bearable than imagined. So you sit in this chapter, breathing, noticing, alive in the now. The past cannot be changed. The future is unknown. But this moment is both certain and open. Every scientific explanation, every poetic metaphor, every meditation practice circles back to this truth. Life is only ever happening now. And yet, the mystery deepens. If the present is all you have, Why does the mind keep stretching away? Why is the human brain so restless, always wandering into memory or projection? Perhaps the answer lies in how the brain evolved to survive, to predict, to imagine what might be. Presence may be natural, but so is movement beyond it. The mind dances between now, before, and after, weaving the fabric of time. As you rest in this gentle awareness, you may begin to wonder if the present is shaped by memory and anticipation, if it is a bubble containing echoes of the past and hints of the future, then where does time itself begin and end? The present opens this question softly, like a door left slightly ajar, inviting you to step through into the mystery that waits in the next chapter. You close your eyes and the world dims into silence. The rhythm of your breathing slows like waves brushing against a quiet shore. Sleep does not arrive suddenly. It arrives as a tide, creeping in with softness, pulling you away from the sharp edges of the waking world. You feel its gentle gravity pulling you inward, and with it, time itself begins to loosen. The ticking of clocks seems less certain, and the flow of moments shifts from something straight and rigid to something circular, fluid, and strange. As you drift, your brain begins its nightly symphony. Neurons fire in patterns that change shape with each passing phase of sleep. At first, the rhythms are light and quick, the sort of fluttering that keeps you close to the surface, as though you are floating in shallow water. These first stages are like standing in a doorway, half in and half out, with the waking world still faintly audible. A whisper of sound, a hint of thought can still reach you. But then, slowly, you slip further. Your brain waves deepen, stretching into slower, broader pulses. This is the moment when time itself starts to distort. You enter non-REM sleep, and the body takes over in silence, repairing, restoring, carrying out tasks that the daylight hours neglect. To you, however, it feels as if nothing exists at all. Time drops away, and in the stillness of deep sleep, you are both present and absent, existing without measure. Yet the journey continues. Like a tide rising and falling, sleep cycles return you again and again into lighter states. And in one of those cycles, you enter the realm of REM, rapid eye movement, the birthplace of dreams. Here, something extraordinary unfolds. Your brain, so quiet only moments before, now lights up with activity, glowing with patterns that look surprisingly like waking life. The difference, however, is that the strict laws of time no longer hold. In dreams, seconds stretch like rivers and hours collapse into moments. You might wander a city that seems to sprawl endlessly, only to wake and realize minutes have passed. You may relive a memory in slow motion or fly through vast landscapes in the blink of an eye. This bending of time is not a trick of the dream, but a reflection of how your brain measures reality. In waking life, you anchor time to events, to sunlight, to motion. In dreams, these anchors are gone, and so time becomes a fabric without tension, folding and flowing freely. The sensation of timelessness is not just illusion. Scientists have studied dream perception, asking sleepers to perform tasks while dreaming, then waking them to compare. Sometimes the tasks take longer in the dream than they would awake. Other times, they shrink into impossibly short bursts. The brain does not keep a fixed clock in dreams. Instead, it feels time as a mood, an atmosphere, a drift. As you listen to this, you can imagine yourself inside such a space. Picture standing on the shore of an ocean, where waves rise and fall, not by seconds, but by feeling. You are not bound to hours or minutes. Instead, you float in an eternal twilight, where each moment carries the weight of many and the lightness of none. This is the gift of sleep. It softens time, loosens its knots, and lets you rest inside its folds. Dreams themselves carry mysteries. They can be stories, fragmented yet vivid. They can be feelings without form, colors without shape, or memories stitched together in unusual ways. Scientists believe dreams may serve many purposes: practicing survival, processing emotion, filing memories, even rehearsing the uncertain. Whatever their reason, they carry you into landscapes where time is less about measurement and more about meaning. Think of a dream where you walk through your childhood home. In reality, the home may no longer exist, but in the dream, you wander its rooms as though no years have passed. Time folds back on itself, and your memory brings the past into the present. Or think of a dream where you fly, soaring above mountains, moving faster than any real engine could allow. Here, time is no longer a boundary, but a companion, shaping itself to your imagination. As you sleep, your body is still. Your muscles rest, your breath deepens, and yet your mind is traveling, creating worlds where the ordinary laws bend. You might live 1,000 lives in one night or experience none at all, waking only with the sense that something has shifted. And always, when you return, the morning sun reminds you that hours have passed in the outside world. Hours that may have felt like minutes or eternities within. Time in dreams is elastic because memory in dreams is elastic. When you wake, you carry fragments, sometimes so vivid they feel etched into you, other times vanishing like mist. The brain does not always write them clearly, but for a moment, the dream lingers. And in that lingering, you feel how differently time has flowed while you slept. Imagine holding a handful of sand. Awake, each grain falls in sequence, steady and predictable. In dreams, the sand floats, swirls, clumps, and scatters, no longer bound to gravity. This is how time moves in your sleeping mind. It is not lost, it is simply freed. And so, each night, you live in two kinds of time. There is the measurable one, the hours the clock records, the cycles your brain completes. And then, there is the felt one, the fluid experience of dreams and timeless rest. Both carry you, both shape you. As you surrender to sleep, you are not just resting. You are entering an ocean where time is no longer a straight river, but a vast, shifting tide. You drift across its currents, unaware of how long, how far, how deep. And when you wake, you return from a journey that cannot be mapped, only remembered. Perhaps this is why sleep feels so mysterious, because in it, you step outside the usual story of hours and minutes, and you discover another rhythm, one that belongs only to the night. And as you think about this, a question begins to rise softly, like dawn, at the edge of the sky. If dreams can bend and stretch time within the mind, then what does it mean for the nature of time itself out there, in the vast universe where we are all drifting? You close your eyes and feel the stillness of night wrap around you like a gentle veil. The air is calm, and in that quiet, you begin to wonder, what does it mean for something to last forever? Time feels like a river, flowing endlessly forward, carrying you from moment to moment. But every river must eventually meet the sea. Could it be that time itself, too, has an end? Or does it stretch on, unbroken, into a horizon that no mind can fully grasp. You float on this thought as if adrift in space. The stars above seem eternal, yet you know that each one is a living flame. They burn, they shine, and then they fade. Entire galaxies rise and fall across spans so vast that your imagination strains to hold them. And yet, even these great spirals of light are temporary dancers on a cosmic stage. The question lingers: if everything within time has an ending, what of time itself? Cosmologists have long whispered about this mystery. Some say the universe will expand forever, galaxies rushing apart until they vanish into the darkness. Others speak of a great collapse, where gravity reclaims what was once scattered, folding all creation back into a single point of silence. These are not mere guesses, but careful reflections drawn from the mathematics of space and the physics of matter. And yet, no answer is final. The universe guards its secrets with a stillness deeper than any midnight. As you drift further into this thought, imagine the expansion of the cosmos like the breath of a sleeping giant. In its beginning, there was an inhale, sudden and powerful, the birth of space itself. Since then, the universe has exhaled slowly, steadily, with galaxies carried outward like sparks in the wind. But will the breath continue forever? Or is there a hidden rhythm, a pulse that will one day turn inward, drawing everything back? To picture eternity, you must also picture its opposite. Imagine time ending not with a bang, but with a slow fading, like the last ember of a fire glowing faintly before it goes dark. This vision is called the heat death of the universe, a future where stars burn out, galaxies fall silent, and energy spreads so thinly that no spark remains to stir the silence. In that infinite quiet, time itself would lose its meaning, for without change, without rhythm, what is there to count? Yet another possibility beckons: the Great Collapse, sometimes called the Big Crunch. Here, instead of fading into emptiness, the universe gathers itself like a dancer, returning from a grand leap. Galaxies reverse their flight, stars fall inward, and space itself contracts. Imagine everything: planets, atoms, even light, rushing toward a single reunion. It is not destruction, but a kind of cosmic heartbeat. Expansion, contraction, expansion again. Perhaps forever repeating, like the tide. But still, another mystery unfolds within this mystery. What happens near black holes, those shadowed giants of space, where time bends in ways almost impossible to imagine? Step too close to a black hole, and you would see the flow of time slow down, stretched like taffy as it nears the horizon of no return. For the one falling in, moments pass as usual. But for the one watching from far away, time itself seems to halt. Could it be that within these dark cradles lies a hint of eternity, or perhaps its opposite, the end of time? Scientists describe this horizon as an edge, a place where our laws of physics begin to whisper rather than speak. Beyond it we cannot see, cannot measure, cannot know. And yet the black hole does not remain silent. It emits a faint whisper, a ghostly breath of radiation, discovered by Stephen Hawking. Slowly, over spans longer than the age of stars, black holes evaporate, returning their secrets to the universe. Even these great shadows are not eternal. If even they vanish, what remains untouched by time? Perhaps Eternity is not found in things that last, but in the mystery itself, in the way your heart continues to ask, even when answers dissolve. You lie beneath the stars, your mind stretched between wonder and sleep, and feel how vast the question truly is. Time may end, or it may not. But in your asking, you glimpse a deeper stillness, a truth that science and silence share alike. The future, cosmologists tell us, is not set in stone. It depends on delicate balances, the amount of dark matter that tugs with unseen weight, the pressure of dark energy that pushes galaxies apart, the fragile interplay of forces that shape the cosmos. These terms sound distant, abstract, yet they are woven into the very breath you take. For you are made of this universe. The fate of stars and the fate of atoms are entwined. Picture yourself drifting far ahead, billions of years into tomorrow. The stars you see now are gone, their light a memory stretched across time. New stars flicker briefly, then fade. Galaxies themselves grow faint, their lights stretched thin by expansion until they vanish beyond sight. You float in this darkness, and though your body cannot survive here, your imagination does. It is a place of silence, but not of absence. For even the quiet speaks in its own way. And so the universe asks you gently, is eternity found in the endless stretching of moments, or in the acceptance that moments, by their nature, dissolve? Perhaps time's edge is not a wall, but a horizon, one that recedes as you approach, always leading you onward into mystery. You walk toward it, never arriving, yet always discovering. Consider also the possibility that time is not singular. Some physicists suggest that what we call time may be one strand of a larger fabric, one direction in a greater weave. Could there be other forms of time, flowing differently, waiting unseen? Could the end of this time simply be the doorway into another? This is the rhythm of science at its most poetic, not answers carved in certainty, but questions that shine softly in the dark. When you ask about forever, you are not simply asking about distant galaxies or the fate of black holes. You are asking about yourself, about the meaning of your own breath, your own days. For what is eternity to you, if not the experience of this moment? Time feels infinite when you are lost in wonder, yet brief when you grasp it too tightly. To stand on the edge of forever is to realize that both endlessness and ending are woven into the same fabric. The stars are finite, yet the mystery they reveal has no bounds. You linger on this realization, letting it settle like dew on the grass of your thoughts. Eternity may not be a length of time, but a depth of presence. It is here, in your awareness, in the way you can stretch your imagination to hold galaxies and still return to the rhythm of your breath. Perhaps the universe will fade into cold silence. Perhaps it will collapse in a fiery embrace. Perhaps it will renew itself in cycles unending. Each vision is a story, a mirror of both knowledge and wonder. And you, small and vast at once, are part of that story. You close your eyes again, and the cosmos folds inward. The edge of forever is not something you can reach, not something you can touch. It is the horizon of your imagination, forever moving, forever calling. And as you drift deeper into the stillness, you realize the question itself is the journey. Time is a mystery, and so are you. Both moving, both unfolding, both woven into a fabric too deep to end. And as this thought softens into silence, another question begins to rise, gentle as dawn. If time can bend and stretch, what does it truly mean to say that space has no edge at all? You close your eyes and you feel it, the steady rhythm of something larger than you, flowing past, flowing through. Time is not loud, not always visible, yet it lingers in every moment. It is the hush between your breaths, the soft decay of a candle's flame, the way shadows lengthen as the sun lowers itself toward the horizon. You exist within it, wrapped gently in its current, yet somehow you also hold it in your hands, bending it into shapes of memory and meaning. Time is strange when you begin to notice it. Physicists describe it as a dimension, woven into the fabric of space, inseparable from distance itself. Without time, motion would be impossible, change would be meaningless, and stories could never unfold. Yet to you, it feels more personal. Time is the quiet pulse you carry within your heart, the way mornings bloom and fade into evenings, the way each day carries both endings and beginnings at once. You are small in this vastness, a fleeting figure on an endless timeline. But you are also luminous, because for this short span of existence, you notice. Stars burn for billions of years without awareness of their light. Mountains endure for ages without memory of their height. But you, fragile, temporary, human, are gifted with the strange ability to see time, to remember, to wonder. That awareness itself makes your moment different from silence, different from nothingness. Scientists tell us that every particle in your body is ancient. The hydrogen that fills your cells was born nearly 14 billion years ago when the universe itself began. The carbon and oxygen you breathe were forged in the fiery collapse of distant stars long before Earth was born. You are, quite literally, a collection of time's relics, assembled into a temporary shape that thinks, feels, remembers. You walk, carrying the past in every cell, and yet somehow you are also able to imagine the future, a horizon that has not yet arrived. And here is the paradox. While the universe holds ages upon ages, for you, time feels delicate. A day can slip away without notice. A single hour can feel both unbearably long and heartbreakingly short. This elasticity of time, scientists say, is woven into the brain itself. Your mind does not measure moments with a clock's precision. Instead, it stretches and compresses them, depending on attention, on memory, on meaning. When you are lost in wonder, a moment expands, luminous and wide. When you are rushing, distracted, time narrows, slipping through you before you can hold it. Think of childhood. The summers seemed endless, the days so wide you could wander through them without limit. Now, as years gather, time feels swifter, as if the river has deepened its current. Scientists suggest this is because each year becomes a smaller fraction of your life's whole. At 5 years old, a single year is 20% of your entire existence, an ocean of experience. At 20, it is 5%. At 50, it is 2. Each year grows thinner, faster, lighter. And yet, within this swiftness, you can still create pockets of slowness, moments stretched wide by attention, by presence, by wonder. Imagine a night under the stars. You lie back, feeling the earth beneath you, watching the sky unfold. Minutes pass, but you do not measure them. Instead, you feel as though you are outside of time itself, suspended between breaths. These are the moments you remember most vividly, not because they lasted longer, but because you were fully awake within them. Neuroscientists explain that memory marks these moments with more detail, more emotion, more texture, making them stretch when recalled. You cannot stop the river of time, but you can widen it by noticing its shimmer, by filling it with presence. And yet, time is not only personal, it is cosmic. Out there, in the vastness of space, time behaves differently. Near a black hole, time itself slows, bent by gravity's weight. To an observer far away, a single second near that gravity well could appear as years. Einstein's theory of relativity revealed this strange truth. Time is not universal, not absolute, but relative to speed and gravity. Your minutes here on Earth are not the same as minutes elsewhere in the cosmos. Every heartbeat, every step you take is woven into a tapestry of relativity, connected to the motion of galaxies and the curve of space-time itself. So what, then, is your place in all this? You, who exist for less than a breath compared to the stars. You, who will one day fade, leaving only traces behind. Perhaps your place is not to conquer time, not to outrun it, but to dwell within it fully, to shape it into meaning. Think of music. Each note is brief, vanishing as soon as it arrives. But when notes are arranged together, when rhythm and silence weave into melody, something enduring is created. Your life is like this. Fleeting moments, brief as sparks, joined into a pattern that becomes a story. This story is not written only for you. It stretches backward into your ancestors, whose choices and lives shaped the world you were born into. It stretches forward into those who will come after you, carrying pieces of your presence in memory, in influence, in unseen ripples of action. You are a link in this chain, a bridge between past and future, shaping time not with eternity, but with the way you live your brief and luminous span. And so, in this chapter, as night gathers softly around you, you rest in the awareness of time's paradox. You are both small and vast, fleeting and eternal. You are a single breath, yet you carry the memory of stars. You are a moment, yet your choices echo forward, touching futures you will never see. This is your place in time, not to hold all of it, but to shape the part you are given with presence, with wonder, with care. Close your eyes again. Listen to the quiet ticking within, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the breath that carries you into the next second. Feel how each moment is both ending and beginning, a door closing, a door opening. You are passing through time, yes, but time is also passing through you, leaving traces, carrying echoes. And as you drift further into stillness, you sense the unresolved beauty of it all, that time is endless, flowing far beyond your reach, and yet somehow, here you are, luminous in this brief span. The next question lingers softly, like a whisper at the edge of sleep. If time flows without end, then what lies beyond its current, beyond the river you now drift within?